Since the last episode, I have gone from being poor to being rich to being totally poor again. Let me explain. So we were playing the hunted game where we were all trying to kill each other, and Riley really wanted to win, so he paid me 50 diamonds and 2 netherite scraps to kill me and take my life. So, of course, I said yes, and he got to kill me, and I got 50 diamonds, which I have now spent all except for 8 of. That's all that I have managed to keep. But now I have a ton of stuff. So I purchased 4 shulker boxes, I purchased a ton of gold blocks, I think they're in here somewhere. I purchased an entire shulker box of rockets, which I really needed. Then I also got this stained glass, which I'm going to use in a future build. Plus I now have a fully enchanted diamond pickaxe, which is called Silky Milky. And most valuable of all, this shulker box right here, which contains a beacon, which is absolutely essential for today's episode. You see, I am digging a massive hole, and in this hole is going to be a giant tunnel. Now, making a tunnel without efficiency 5 plus beacon 2 power would take very long, especially since this tunnel is gonna go from all the way down here to all the way over there, this mountain, which is a couple hundred blocks of space all the way to come right over here. So that is why having a beacon is going to be very useful today. So I'm actually gonna go ahead right now and jump into a little time lapse because I'm going to build up this beacon, which takes a lot of time because I'm gonna build it into the ground so that it's not a huge bulky monstrosity. Well, that didn't really go the way I was expecting it to because I made a mistake while building the beacon and I had to destroy all of this area around it, so now I'm just gonna have a huge pit, which is really the opposite of what I was going for with building the beacon in the ground, but hey, it's fine. So now, the moment we have all been waiting for, I am going to place down this beacon right here and boom, there it is. Yes, I love that sound. Music to my ears. So now what I need to do is put in this right here. So I want haste and then haste 2, and then I put in an iron ingot, and that should be all I have to do. And now I have it. That's it right there in the corner. Haste 2. So now, if this is correct, I should be able to instantly mine this stone right here. Oh, that feels good. But also, it makes me kind of sad, too, because this poor rock was just absolutely obliterated by my pickaxe. It's just really quite depressing. In fact, I'm feeling kind of down about it. I don't know if I can continue doing this. You know what? I'm feeling quite blue. Oh yeah, right, because I now have a new skin. But that is besides the point. I am now going to go ahead and start work on my mega dig tunnel thingamabob-jigger into the giant mountain behind me. That was a heck of a sentence. Alrighty, so seeing as time-lapse CrayZink is typically the CrayZink that complains about having his CrayZink videos not go the way he wants them to, he is going to give you a reason why this episode is actually one day later than he intended it to be. You see, this episode is absolutely amazing. I think it's one of the best videos I've ever done and one of my most awesome episodes ever. So it took a lot of time to make. I spent hours recording, building, editing this video. So much goes into it. It's just crazy. So I'm sorry this is late. Trust me though, this episode is worth it. And just like that, phase 1 of my project is complete. So if everything works as I think it should, I am able to come down here. Oh my goodness, I just took so much damage. But I should be able to come down these steps over here, and this should be a tunnel. Wow, that is actually so long. And this goes all the way back over right into this mossy area, which definitely needs beautified, and takes me all the way back up right here to the tent area. This is awesome. I love this so much. So before I get started on the next phase of this project, I would like to give you a little bit of an idea of what I am doing with this whole build. So I mentioned in the first episode that I'm going to turn this into a medieval tower. Now, of course, there are lots of modifications that are going to be made to this whole mountain spike thingamabob to make it viable. But I think that the first build I want to do on this whole project is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to build it right here where this giant hole is coming from. So what I'm thinking okay, this block of grass is really in my way. as I was saying, now in my unobstructed view, you can see this little formation right here, which I think is so naturally perfect for what I want to build. So what I am thinking is, since this little thing goes, oh my goodness, now there's all the grass down there. But what I am thinking is that this whole bit right here is going to be a building coming from pretty much where I'm standing right now, and it will be surrounded in this area. Now, this little like ravine type thing, I actually want to leave because I think this could be really cool as potentially an entrance to a dungeon, which of course I'm getting way ahead of myself. That's not a project I'll do for super long, but still maybe a dungeon down there. And of course the main build being right here. So it would kind of start, like I was saying, right here, and it'd be kind of like a loop around thingy, and it will come all the way over here, and then right out the side of this building will be this right here. So this will actually be like coming out of the side of the building. I think that that would look so stinking cool if this was part of it, and then this will have like different like chains and spikes and stuff all around it to make it look super, you know, medieval-y. So I'm going to need to gather a lot of resources before I do this build, because I have absolutely zero deep slate, and I need deep slate, and I have no diamonds to buy deep slate because I'm poor. So anyways, I think it's time for a resource gathering grind. Let's do this thing. So right here, I actually want to fill you in on something that happened during this deep slate. So two main things happened. First of all, I realized I was mining with a silk touch, so I had to switch to fortune so that I actually got cobbled deep slate. And then also I found this amethyst geode, which is absolutely great. That's going to be super, super useful. And then I also, of course, got a ridiculous amount of deep slate, which after you see the rest of this episode, you'll notice is all gone. Okay, my resource gathering has now concluded, and I have gotten myself nearly 19 stacks of cobbled deep slate. So I think this will be plenty for this build, especially since it will be using other blocks as well. It's not only going to be deep slate, which actually reminds me that I need to take an adventure to the shopping district because I need to purchase some of that wood right there. So I now have purchased 2.5 stacks of surprisingly expensive warped stem. I've bought some other warped blocks, and then also 2 stacks of copper. I think this should be really useful. And the reason I'm still in the shopping district is because I actually would like to switch up this sign right here, because now that I'm, you know, blue and blue, I need to get rid of this red. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. This should only take a moment. Oh yeah, that is much, much better. I am loving it. I will miss the red for sure, and since there's no easy texture with this blue, it's a little bit, you know, odd looking, but I think it's great. I also came and I changed these steps right here because for some reason they were disgusting jungle stairs, which did not go well with my whole deep slate vibe. So this is now fixed up. I would like to try and figure out a way to maybe change that just a little bit because it is really flat looking, but I literally haven't stocked the store in like 2 months, so it really doesn't matter. Alright, now that I am home, it is time for me to start this build. There is still a ton of work to do in the tunnel down here, but I am going to do that in a different episode, because today I just really, really want to build this first building. So again, I will come back to this and beautify this horrible monstrosity, and I'm actually thinking of turning this into my main storage area. I mean, I think that that would just look so cool to have just lines upon lines going across here of just chests. Anyways, that's just an idea. Now it is time for me to hop into mega time-lapse mode and get started on this build, which I have absolutely no design for, and I'm completely clueless on what I'm doing, and I'm probably gonna regret it immediately after I start placing it. Let's do it. And I'm gonna say that this build was surprisingly easy for me to make. I thought that this was gonna be like a huge challenge for me, but honestly, I just kind of got into the groove of placing blocks and just, you know, listening to my music and just vibing, and it actually really was not that bad. It only took like, I think 2 hours total to do the entire build, which is like at the very end of the episode, and I really think it turned out quite well, to be honest, and I'm so excited for you to see it when it's finally finished next episode, and it's just, it's gonna be so stinking cool. I am so excited, and I hope that you are also. I love this build. It is turning out exactly how I imagined it, and I am so excited. I need to get an aerial look. I just keep flying out like this and looking at it because I am just stunned by its magnificence, its beauty. I am so thrilled with how this is coming along. This right here was so annoying, and it still has to be finished because, like you just saw, there's this gap right here. That'll literally take me 2 minutes to fill in, but I'm lazy. Of course, there is still a ton that I have to do on this project. It is my first mega-ish sort of thing. I mean, once this whole mountain is done, that will be mega. But of course, I gotta start with the first mini-mega part of it. And that, of course, is this build right here. So I want to expand this, well, actually, I guess unspanned. As I'm saying, I want to add a wall right here coming from about these blocks and then going right in there to sort of block off this area right here. And then I want to expand the hole really big so that this entrance slash exit part of this massive hole will actually be like its own huge room and portion of the build. So there is one more thing that I would like to do here that I really hope works, and that is adding the warped stairs along all of this. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do that, and I kind of realized that it's, oh, this is easier than I thought. Do you ever talk to yourself, and then you just keep talking to yourself, and then you start to actually develop, like, a really cool story and conversation with yourself, and it just keeps evolving into some incredible improvised story? Because I do that, and it's very annoying. I love it so much. The beacon is totally in the way right now, but it's okay. This looks so stinking cool. I am loving the blue on this. I am totally shaking my camera like crazy. But this is just amazing. I mean, look at this. I'm so happy. There is still so much to add, though. Because when it was just the wall on its own, it actually looked okay. But now that this is on, you can realize how undetailed the wall itself actually is. So I'm totally gonna have to do a bunch to make this look good. And this is literally the smallest part of this mega project. Eventually, all of this will be covered with builds. This is going to be insane. I mean, look at that space down there. There is just so much that I can do with this. I really have no idea what I'm going to use all of this space for down there. I mean, there are just so many possibilities. Which, of course, leads me to the bit that I don't want to do, which is, you know, finishing the build. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I think I should be able to do this just fine. I'm gonna try and hang some chains with lanterns and just some lanterns, and we'll see what happens. Now it's raining, which I guess sets the mood for the next time-lapse. I'm not entirely sure. If you didn't know this, creative people are very weird, and I'm realizing that today, making this episode, because since I recorded the last voiceover, which I just said how much I absolutely love this episode, and I think it's the best episode I've ever made, I've totally changed my mind, and now I'm watching through the episode thinking, I don't really like this episode very much. I could do a lot better. What is up with me? I am so bizarre. Anyways, I like to share the little, you know, behind the scenes process that goes into these, and I just think it's absolutely hilarious what my mind decides to do. Anyways, enjoy the show. Well, that was not what I expected to do, but I love it. There is still a ton of minor things and minor details that need to be fixed. For example, I have to add a little bit of steps right here, and I'm sure there are tons of blocks that I've misplaced or misaligned that I'll have to fix. Some of the steps along this sort of thing are a little weird, and there is still always a lot left to do. But what I just changed and added, I absolutely adore. Originally, I was gonna have these be windows almost, but then it just kind of changed, and I was like, you know what? What if I just made it a huge line of blue? And I am so happy with how that looks. I think it really brightens up the whole build and makes it feel a lot more complete. And then up there, changing those deep slate blocks into that wood, it was very expensive to do, but honestly so worth it. And especially once that whole area is finished, it will look really cool. But I am pretty sure now that I am almost done with the first wall half of this build. And as I've mentioned probably so many times that you're very annoyed with me, I love it. I think it looks awesome. I'm super excited with how this project is coming. And the next episode is going to be crazy full of updates and progress. In the meantime, you can like the video and subscribe so that when that next one is released, you will see it. This is the end. Goodbye.